Alrighty. Okay. Just give me a second. Excuse me.
He's always doing that. Have you seen any odd things since living here?
Odd things like, well, you
Here in
like
Idyllwild.
UFOs?
Like UFOs?
No.
No?
How long have you been painting?
I started as a kid, like most kids, with crafts and stuff, you know, a little kid. And then I was with my grandmother, and we were walking by a bookstore, and in the bookstore was a cover of this big, thick art book. And on the cover was this amazing portrait of a woman. And she had a little earring that was in shadow, and had a little glint of light on the earring. And the light and the shadows were just moving around her face. And her face had this very empathy. She had a lot of empathy in her eyes, of tenderness, and almost a sadness, but it was like looking right through you. And the book, on the book was a little card with the price tag. It was $65 when I was 11 years old. So that is 50 years ago. That's a lot of money.
That was like $600.
But I remember looking at that going like, wow. And a couple months later was my birthday, my 12th birthday. And well, when I was still looking at the book, I went into another universe. I forgot where I was. All I could see was the painting. And then I realized, I woke up and I said, I'm with my grandmother walking here. Where is she? And she was like 2 windows down. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, just keep looking. But she had been looking at me. And I thought that was interesting. She said, no, I'm busy looking over here. You go ahead and look at that, whatever you're looking at. So a couple months later, I get a birthday present from my grandmother, and it's that book.
Oh.
And it was the complete works of Rembrandt.
Wow.
And so I fell in love with Rembrandt, and I had this book of all of his work, and I looked at that book every night. And then I started really painting. So at 11, at 12, I started really painting.
Okay.
Almost every day.
Wow.
And then I used Rembrandt to see how he solved problems.
How did he solve problems?
Well, he was like a magician. So it was like, how did he do this? And then I would look at other painters and I said, oh, that's so easy. I can see what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And so I keep coming back to Rembrandt going, I can feel it, but I don't quite know how he did this. But to answer your question as a mature artist is that he paints depth better than anyone. Mm-hmm. So his canvases have a tremendous amount of atmospheric depth in them. He paints light better than anyone.
Wow.
And so he uses the light and the depth, and they somehow go together to create this magical element. Mm. So there are things that you would study. Mm-hmm. How does light work? How do shadows work? But how do you put things in spatial depth? And then the psychology, when I was saying I was attracted to her psychology, her meaningful expression, is that when you create depth in a painting, it's my belief that you pull people into your canvas. You actually enter into a psychological space of depth. So it's not on the surface. The deeper you can create the depth in a painting, the deeper you can go into the viewer's soul. I keep painting until I feel a click of rightness, but I keep painting until I feel a click of rightness. That might take 4 months. Like, what am I doing? I can't afford this.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to sell it, or I might have trouble doing that. But the paintings that I do, that I'm happy, that I'm finished with or happy with, I'm really happy with them. But I kept going until it gave me that feeling like, I really know what I'm doing in this piece. It's coming across, but I really did everything I could to make it work. And I've been to hell and back. And, I love this piece. Because maybe a month before, I just said, no, it's not right yet. I don't know, and I don't know what to do. But that's the fun part. I don't know yet. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. I don't know how to solve the problem. Great. Yeah. That's an adventure. I get to figure out how to solve this damn problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then I'll keep working at it until it resolves. And then I feel like, I'm really proud of the piece because I can feel it now, but I did all the hard work to get it to be
right,
to have it feel good.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of artists don't do that. And when they're in a museum show, they don't have confidence in the work because they didn't really please themselves. They didn't really have it speak to them in authenticity. And so they make up little stories, or they just make general statements like no one has confidence in their work. And I'm like, well, I don't think you did enough work. I don't think you really mastered what you're doing. Because if you did, you would have a little bit more insight and confidence into what you did.
Yeah.
But I'll tell it to you anyway because it's funny.
Okay.
But I don't.
It's recording.
Oh no.
Oh,
no.
Don't you want this or no? We'll edit that out.
Yeah, it's
You
fine.
have our word. We'll edit it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm living in Venables, Pueblo. You can tell me how to say that properly.
Say it again.
Venables, Pueblo. In Spain.
Benamo? Denamo.
Ben. B-E-N.
Benamos.
Say it again.
Venables. Well,
Benamo-
Benamodano. But I got it right.
Benamodano, Pueblo.
Yeah, maybe it's Dono.
So, a kind of village. And, but they had a lot of English people living there. So they would have their second home in Spain. And I took out an ad for a male model. I needed a male model for this painting. And so I did it in the English newspaper. And a guy calls me up and says, I'm 36 and I'm in good shape. And I live in Gibraltar, which is actually kind of a different country. It's separate. It's not Spain. But it was close. It was like 50 miles away. And so he drove and he came to pose. And super clean cut Spanish guy. So he looked like a teller in a bank. He had a button down shirt, he had slacks, he had loafers. Very conservative looking, clean cut, manicured and stuff. And so he starts unbuttoning his clothes, getting ready because it's for a nude.
Right.
And he goes, I have something to tell you. And I thought,
I have 3 penises. I'm just kidding.
So I've taught life drawing. I've taught life drawing. I've taught all this stuff with models. I've seen everything. So I'm not worried. No problem.
Right.
Whatever it is, not worried. And so he says, I'm pierced down below.
Oh, it was way off.
Yes, you were. So like he's pierced. I've seen piercings, no problem. So he takes off his clothes. He drops his drawers. He drops his shorts, and he has 250 pieces of gold.
Wow.
All over the place. There are little balls that go on little path trails
All around
there were
his penis?
all around the whole.
Oh, just the whole thing.
The whole area was.
Oh my gosh.
With chains wrapped around things. It was
a maze.
sparkling.
It was a maze down there, literally.
Oh my
That was a treasure chest.
It was, yeah. Thank you so much, Michael Newberry. And how can our audience find you and your work?
Well, online you can find me on michaelnewberry.com.
Okay.
And that's simple because I have links to my Twitter, And on my Twitter I look at all the art news daily, and I bring out a couple of highlights, good and bad, about the art world.
Okay.
Good.
And then my Instagram, I'm archiving all my work, my drawings, my paintings, my pastels. You can all find that on michaelnewberry.com. And
Okay.
next spring, 2019, I'm teaching a pastel art workshop in France. We're following in the footsteps of Cézanne and Van Gogh.
Ooh, Van Gogh.
It's run by Provence Art Experience. You can Google them, and they have a Facebook page with wonderful photos of the accommodations and the sites and the itinerary. And it's going to be a really amazing, lovely experience.
And everything
Awesome.
will be taken care of.
And everything is taken care of. And it's hard work, though, because it's going to be hard work of making art, but then the meals just show up.
That's
There you
awesome.
go.
It just
Just
shows
look
up.
down,
And
you
you
got
don't
some
have to
food.
do the dishes.
Yeah, you don't have to do the dishes. There you go.
There you go. That's always a
Stay
plus.
tuned.
How it works.
So what's
So-
the technique?
So I have
I'm
a little
really
bit of
good. I'm
space,
really
so this
good.
might die.
If someone gives me the technique,
I'll show you. So you can just do one, and no, you can grab that one, but I'll show you.
yeah, but it's a hamburger. I can't.
Yeah, are you a vegetarian?
No.
No.
The hamburgers are meant to eat.
Because I wanted to show you so you can do it with your hand. That's all. So you grab it,
Yes.
and then so with your hand you kind of you don't need to do all this. It's just as simple to.
Music jam.
There you go. Jamming with Michael Newberry, who lives in Newberry. No, he doesn't really live in Newberry. Lives in here in Idyllwild. Yeah.